everyone, in this video I'm gonna go over something that you might have come across while using any of the components in the new MUI library. It is called the instance slot. In this video I'm gonna go over on how to use the instance slot and what exactly is it. So what is an instance slot? It is essentially a placeholder within a component that can be replaced with another component or instance. Now you have to remember that an instance slot is a designated area within the component that allows for customization. For example, I have this dialog box, and as you can see, it has a title, the instance slot, and the actions. Within the instance slot, you can just easily add text, but sometimes designers need more than just text, and they need maybe other elements. Designers can assemble more complex UI elements based on the experience they're looking to do. It enhances reusability and scalability of components within Figma. In Figma, you can find many components that come with the instance slot. The first example that I was showing you is a dialog box, but we have other components that you might have seen in the library. For example, we have this accordion with an instance slot. We have the paper component, which is just a surface with an instance slot. And another example is the card component, which you can see the instance slot is within the card content. That means that you can add any MUI component or even a customized component within this section. Okay, let's take a look at a few examples. In the screen I have a card component, and as you know, the card component comes with the card content. Within the card content, you can see the instance slot. Now with this, you can just add a simple text component, or you can add a more complex. So let's do the exercise. In the layers, make sure you select the right layer, which is the library instance slot. And look for the typography component. If you see, I'm on the right panel on the drop down. Just type the typography. And let me copy some text from somewhere else and just add it here. Make sure you always use the fill container. As you can see, I just replaced the instance slot with just a simple text. But what about when you need something more complex? And avoid detaching the card component. Now let's say that you have a custom component that you want to add inside of this card component, and you have this element with a badge, we have text, and you have a shape component, and you want to add this into this card component. Well, this is where the instance slot is very useful. And make sure to give it a name. Make sure that if you create some sort of custom component, and when I say custom, it's a composition of different components, make sure to always call it custom. So in this case, I have a custom blog post, and what we're gonna do is add this inside of this card component without detaching the component. So click on the right layer, instance slot, and just look for underscore custom blog post. And now you can see how easy it is to add your own custom components inside of this card. And not just this card component, but on any of these components that come with an instance slot. Now, in some cases, you might need to be careful what you're adding to it. It might not be possible, and I always recommend to always talk to your developer if it's something doable. Now, let's take a look at another example. I have in the screen a dialog box. And let's say that I want to add a form inside of this dialog box because the experience I'm creating needs a form inside of a dialog box. Well, we can use the instance slot to add that form inside of this. And let's say that you already have that in your files. All you have to do is replace this instance slot with that component that you have created. In this case, I have called this double column. And as you can see, it's replacing the instance slot with my component. Okay, let's take a look at one more component, and that is the paper component. So if you insert the paper component into your file, what you're going to see is an instance slot. But you have to remember that the paper component is just a surface with an instance slot on it. And what you can do is that if you want to use the paper component, you can add any nested components or any instance of any component inside of this surface, which is the paper. As an example, I'm going to use a custom component that it is within MUI. Let's do this payment, and you have to make sure that you use fill container. And now you see on the layers that you have used a paper component with a custom payment design, and that is because you replace the instance slot with this payment component. Whether it is a form or some other design, you can always use the paper component if you want to use a surface first. And just as a disclaimer, make sure you always consult with the developer you're working with, because instance slots can be used to add custom components, yes, but sometimes those custom components might not be something that your developer might be able to do in MUI. The point of the instance slot is for the component to preserve all the properties without detaching. That's the main reason. The second reason will be to add your own components into the components in MUI where you see the instance slot available. Thank you for watching this video, and let me know if you have any questions.